From Minden West.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Today I will be reintroducing my private member's bill to provide paid leave for workers who have experienced domestic violence and sexual violence, a bill that received unanimous support when it was debated in the last session. Speaker, it's traumatic enough for someone who has been sexually assaulted or abused by their intimate partner. Survivors should not also have to worry about losing their jobs because of the violence they experienced. The Premier can commit today to helping people maintain employment and making life a little easier by including paid leave for domestic violence and sexual violence in the government's Employment Standards Act changes. Will she do that?
Thank you.
Responsible for women's issues.
Minister responsible for women's issues and accessibility.
Thank you, Speaker. I think we can all agree domestic violence is a very serious problem. It crosses every social boundary, and it will not be tolerated in Ontario. And as a minister responsible for women's issues, it's a priority for me that women feel safe in their homes, in their workplaces, and in their communities. And I know the Minister of Labour will want to provide additional details from a labour point of view in the supplementary. But let me just say this, Speaker, that in 2015-16 we've invested over $4.6 million in programs and services to help victims of domestic violence. And since releasing our Domestic Violence Action Plan in 2014, the Women's Directorate has implemented many initiatives to raise awareness of domestic violence and strengthen support for victims. We've taken strong action in our Sexual Violence Action Plan. I know the Minister of Labour will support.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, recently we learned that the federal Liberals are looking at the provisions of my bill to allow workplace accommodations for federal workers. We know from the murders of Laurie DuPont and Teresa Vince that violence often follows victims to the workplace. The ability to change hours of employment or transfer to a new location can literally mean life or death. Will the Premier follow the lead of her federal cousins and implement workplace accommodations for Ontario workers who have experienced domestic violence or sexual violence?
Thank you.
Minister of Labour.
Minister of Labour.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to the member for that very important question. And thank you for bringing forward this private member's bill. We clearly understand, I think both caucuses share the importance of this issue. We know the impact it has on individuals, on family, on children. Let me tell you, Speaker, in the province of Ontario, our Occupational Health and Safety Act is the only legislation of its kind in the entire country that requires employers in this province to take every precaution reasonable in the circumstances to protect a worker from domestic violence in the workplace and at home, Speaker. Speaker, this is an issue that's been brought to the attention of the Changing Workplaces Review. We're at the interim report stage. It's clearly discussed in that report, Speaker, so thank you for bringing attention to it. I look forward to working with the entire House to resolving this issue in the right way, Speaker.
Thank you. New question, the member from